Interesting. Okay, it did finally switch. Wonderful. Hello, I'm very sorry. I have not ironed my shirt. It's literally come fresh out of the wash from Cologne, and I thought I would wear it, but it's not ironed. I'm very sorry for that. Yeah, we're just gonna have to make do with that. I hope the audio is working. Otherwise, you guys are gonna be very confused. I'm very sorry. The countdown wasn't quite long enough. I just had to send one more message before before I finished. So give me 2 seconds because these flights do need to get booked. Ugh. We need to send the boys to the Bounty. So just gonna quickly get this done. Let's have a look. See, how is everyone? Let's just check in with you guys. How is everyone doing? And then we can move on in 2 seconds. Who's this? Who the hell lives in this place? This is Nick. And then the last one must be Mike. Cool. Very sorry for this bad timing. What's the word I'm looking for? Cool. Righty ho. How is everyone? It's been a few weeks. I guess we'll open up with some apologies. I did plan and I did take all the gear with me to... Hold on, let's have a look. I'm looking very orange today. Oh, no, I'm just looking... Actually, I still look kind of orange. Oh, no, that's brighter. No, that's bright. That's bright. There we go. Right, that's as low as I can get it. Cool. Right. Yeah, I did take all the gear with me to Belgrade and to Cologne with the intention that I would do the show from both locations while we were there. However, I think the show on Belgrade clashed with a match, I believe. I believe it actually directly clashed. Yeah, it clashed with the big match. I mean, did it clash with the big match? I don't even remember when we started, but I know we finished at like 2 a.m. So I actually don't know what time we started that match in the end, but we certainly finished it quite late. Let's see what HLTV says the time was. HLTV says the time was started at 22:10 local, so that would have been an hour after the show. So technically, I could have done an hour show, but yeah, that didn't work. And then yeah, we were busy the day after that. We had the BO3 versus Saw the day after that, and yeah, things just got a bit hectic, I guess you could say. So didn't do the show the first week. The second week, honestly, to be honest, just no excuses really. We didn't have a match that day. We'd done all our game prep. We'd done all our planning. Just simply didn't do it. So no excuses there, guys. I'm very sorry, especially because we've had a lot of we've had a lot of things to talk about. I've been quite angry. Not angry. Angry is not the right word. Frustrated. I don't even know what the right word would be. But there's been a lot of shenanigans, fuckery, just straight up. I don't know what the word I would use is, but there's been some frustrating occurrences this past few weeks that have really boiled my blood, I guess you could say. Is that the term? So we'll get to those when we get to them. I guess the first thing to do is recap the events. So yeah, first event obviously was Fisher, and it was our first event with Fisher. They've done some previous events. They previously did the Bet Boom Dacia events, both in Belgrade and in Dubai. So it's not their first event, but it's the first event we've been to of theirs at least. And Yeah, I mean, honestly, it was a good event. They took care of us really well. They were always like willing to try and fix and help us with everything. There's still I guess you could say there's still an early phase TO. They're not as well established, so they haven't got like some of the things down, but they were extremely helpful with everything. And yeah, it was a pleasure to be there. So hopefully we can get to one of their events in the future. It's unlikely we go to their next event because we wouldn't have been high enough in the ranking, most likely. So it's top 16, and we were ranked 24. So I highly doubt 8 teams will decline. So unfortunately, we won't get to go to their second event, which we can we can get into later, while that's really frustrating and not just slightly frustrating. Sorry, one second. No, that's fine. I can ignore that for now. Someone remind me at the end of the show that I need to respond to Snappy. Yeah, so Fisher was good. The event itself went fine. We got 2 good wins, I guess you could say. Beating BetBoom, beating Big. I'd say around about the levels of teams that we should be beating. I think honestly both of them should have been 2-0s. We kind of threw Nuke against BetBoom, and we kind of threw Dust 2 against Big. I can't remember, we were 12-7 against BetBoom on Nuke before we ended up going to OT and losing. And then against Big, we were 12-8 on Dust 2, I think, before going on to lose in OT. Thankfully, we won the second and third maps in both of those series. The BetBoom was a bit more clean. There was 2 13-8s, but the train against Big went to 19-17. That was us coming back against them. So I guess you could say that was a nice comeback on that side of things, because we were 9-4 down at one point, and then we brought it back to 12-12, and then won in double OT. And then and then the Nuke was a bit scary at one point. We were down 5-10 and then won 8 rounds in a row, I think. So managed to bring that back at 2:00 in the morning to win the game. So made it through to, well, I guess the top of our group. It was GSL groups. Haven't done GSL groups in a while. So that was good. And yeah, I mean, in all honesty, we expected to play Furia in the quarterfinal match, but saw with the upset in their final group stage game meant we played Saw, and I'll be honest, that should have been a godsend for us. Certainly, I would consider Saw the weaker team, and I think Furia have gone on to show that this week. Congrats to them to making playoffs at the Lanxess. I think that's a long time since Fallen has been in the Lanxess. When was the last team Fallen would have been in the Lanxess on? It wouldn't have been Liquid, because that was, I think the last time he would have been in the Lanxess would have been MIBR in 2019 at best. Like long time. Let's have a look. No, they finished 13th to 16th in ESL1 Cologne 2019. 2020 obviously didn't happen. 2021 did happen, but wasn't in the Lanxess, and famously that was the first LAN event back, right? They finished 9th to 12th, 17th to 20th with Imperial in 2022, 17th to 20th in 2023. Man, Fallen's been having rough luck like us. 13th to 16th in Cologne. Like, we never play well at Cologne. Like, we haven't played well at Cologne ever since we started this team. Last time he made Lanxess Arena in Cologne would have been... Ooh, is that Lanxess there? Did they do top 8 playoffs? No, they didn't. I actually think the last time he made Lanxess Arena was the time he won it. Yeah, when they won it in 2017, when it wasn't a major. It was the first year it wasn't a major in 2017. That was the last time that Fallen played in the Lanxess Arena. Wait, does he have a 100% win rate in the Lanxess Arena? Because he won it in 2016 when it was a major. He won it in 2017 when it wasn't. And in 2015 he finished 5th to 8th. Okay, he doesn't have a 100% win rate, but he's got a very good win rate in the Lanxess Arena. Wow, so he's been a long time since he's been there, so that's going to be fun for him. And I don't think the other Furia guys have ever been to the Lanxess Arena. I'm going to have to check that now, because that doesn't sound right, but it might well be right. 2019, 9th to 12th, 2020 didn't happen, 2021, that didn't happen, 2022, 7th to 8th, so no. 2023, 17th to 20th, so no. 2024, 13th to 16th, no. So Furia have also not had very good luck in Cologne either. But I mean, Cologne is a very hard event to qualify for. Getting to the top 6 of Cologne should be one of the hardest events. In fact, I'd argue it's harder than making top 8 at the major, making top 6 at Cologne, because, well, there's 2 less teams, and I think the format just is pretty brutal. So yeah, credit to Furia. Anyway, yeah, back to our Fisher. That's a hell of a tangent there. Yeah, I think Saw, we honestly thought should have been a good matchup for us. I mean, it should have been a good matchup for us. I think we let ourselves down, really, to be honest. Mostly on the final map. I think the first 2 maps, I mean, we picked Anubis and they played great on it. I can't remember the veto. So they banned Train. So the fun thing about the Saw veto is we both banned Mirage. So neither of us bans it in the first round of bans. So we removed Ancient, which was the map that they destroyed us on in Cluj a while back. They banned Train, which is our best map. So we picked Anubis, which was our second best map. They picked Inferno, which I assume was their second best map. And then, we banned Dust 2, which forced them to remove Mirage, and then we get Nuke left over. So kind of a wonky veto for both of us, in the fact that we're all sort of already playing our not-so-good maps. And, I mean, we beat them on their map, they beat us on our map, and then, I mean, we were 12-8 up. I think we got a bit ahead of ourselves, I guess you could say. I think we started thinking that it was over when it wasn't, and we ended up losing in OT, double OT, I think it was actually. Beautiful bit of product placement there. Sorry for everyone. So very, very, very disappointed to lose to Saw in that way. Not because I don't think Saw are a worthy opponent or anything like that, but Saw is the kind of level of team that we feel like we should be beating. And I think with the, where we were in terms of like the match scenario at 12-8 up, I think we should have won the game. And ultimately we ended up losing. So we cost ourselves a semi-final spot at Fisher, and I mean, we would have played Tai Lu, who obviously went on to win the event, but we would get to play against Tai Lu obviously a week later, so we can skip over to that now. Switch over to Cologne, and we played Gamer Legion, who had a really rough time at Fisher themselves. Again, rough in their eyes, and for them, I think finishing top 8, same as us, is rough because they won their group, and I think they would have fancied themselves to beat BetBoom, who obviously we beat, and I think losing to them was tough for them. So both of us sort of came in feeling like we'd underperformed at Fisher, and obviously we get the news a few days before that the Valve are removing Anubis. which, yeah, that this is now the third time in a row that they've basically removed our best map, or one of our best maps, or certainly one of our first two picks. Obviously, they removed Overpass back in 2024. They then removed Vertigo at the end of 2024, and now they've removed Anubis in favor of Overpass. So good news is we got Overpass back, at least. I'm very happy about getting Overpass back. But Valve just needs to stop like targeting us with bans. Like it's getting a bit ridiculous now. So yeah, lost one of our best maps to pick, which again meant that the veto got a bit, I'm going to use the word fucky. The veto got a bit fucky because essentially Game Legion's permaban was Anubis. So they basically didn't have a permaban. So what did they do? They just banned our best map, Train, which they wouldn't normally be able to do in a normal veto. They wouldn't be able to do that. It might be that they are going to permaban Train in the future. I don't know what their plan is. Actually, I should probably just check the matches they played. They played 3 other matches. I'm curious now. Like, did they just keep banning Train? Because maybe that's just what they're going to do, and that's completely legit. I know teams don't like Train, but I mean, they should just grow up and play it. Yeah, Gamer Legion... Actually, no, Gamer Legion removed Inferno against Virtus Pro, which makes sense. They removed Train against Falcons, which makes sense, because Falcons play Train. And they removed Train against 3D Max, which makes sense, because 3D Max play Train. So I think they might be edging towards a Train permaban, but I don't think that was... I don't necessarily know that for sure. That might just be like targeting bans against certain teams for now, while they're essentially playing all 7 maps, because they're trying to learn Overpass, clearly, and they've still got enough left over on Train or Inferno or whatever of the map they want to play to keep going. So yeah, that was unfortunate, that our very first match, and obviously I think we found out the news on like the Wednesday or the Thursday, and we were still in the playoffs, so we had to play on Friday. So then we had like, I thought, like the only thing that Fisher did, which was a bit annoying, was that they took away the practice days one day early. So we only had the practice rooms for Saturday. We didn't have it for Sunday, which obviously meant that we couldn't practice on the Sunday. So we essentially lost a day of practice, and then we had to travel on the Monday. So we had like Tuesday, one day basically, to do any practice on Overpass, aside from like some theory on the Saturday, which was mostly used on recap and reviewing the matches we'd already played. So yeah, we didn't have all that much time to prepare Overpass. We knew that Game Legion would prepare Overpass, like we were very sure of that. So we weren't willing to necessarily go and pick Overpass. So we ended up picking Inferno, which just went badly for us. Like it wasn't something that we were unprepared for, but Inferno for us is like not going to be our best pick anyway. But realistically, we're not going to go picking Ancient or Dust 2 against them. So Inferno. Our Inferno looked pretty decent the week before against Saw, and against we played someone else on it as well. So yeah, we thought Inferno would be good. It wasn't. We lost. They smashed us 13-3, and then Nuke. We just couldn't get our CT side going really at all. Went 2-0 up, went 3-2 down, went back up to 4-3 up. So basically we won 2, they won 3, we won 2, they won 3, we won 2, and we just never really got enough rounds rolling on the CT side of Nuke, and that's when you play against a good team, it's basically impossible to go and win the T side like that. So yeah, 13-10, a bit disappointing, but yeah, Gamer Legion are a good team, so it's not like I feel like that's the first loss where I'm like, okay, Gamer Legion are a good team. And then we played Tyloo, who I think this should have been the semi-final we played in Fisher, and it ultimately wasn't. We played them here, and yeah, I mean we had been playing a bit more Overpass by this point. We had an extra day after the after the Game Elite, because we played Game Legion in the first match slot at 10:30, so we had the whole afternoon to actually put some time into Overpass, knowing that we would probably play Tyloo on it, and we also watched Tyloo lose to Virtus Pro on it, and they didn't look great. So we're like, okay, we know Virtus Pro are going to be a good Overpass team, so we probably thought, we can take them on it as well, and it got a bit closer than it should have been. I think we had to get some pretty big clutches in to get it over the line, and everyone's saying if you look at the scoreline, it looks like we should have lost, and they're not necessarily wrong. I'll bring it up quickly because it was pretty crazy. Oh, that's gone full screen. Hello. Oh, the two-shot is no longer working. The two-shot is really no longer working. Okay. Let's see if I can do... No. This one? Hey, there we go. Yeah, so as everyone says, if you look at the score lines, it looks like we should have lost, right? And I don't disagree with people. I think the reason this happened was because of when we were on our we'll see all these bomb explosions. This is their players saving a lot, all these bomb explosions, and I think that led to and obviously time running out as well. Like this led to a lot of players just staying alive, which meant we weren't getting all the kills we needed. So we just weren't getting the extra kills to top up the rating, basically. So yeah, it's also look at their multi-kills. Like, this is crazy. Like, if you get this many multi-kills, you should win a match. Like, this is actually insane, to be honest. Like, I actually don't understand how they lost this match. When you look at the scoreboard, like, this many multi-kills on this many players should be like instant match win. But I guess we were just getting the kills we needed to win the rounds, and then we were just winning the rounds. So it didn't matter if we. Also look here, look, 10-10 and 12-10. They ran out of time, so obviously they're keeping players alive, but they're not winning rounds, so they're not completing the objective. So yeah, it's good to win Overpass. Inferno, I mean, they just had us, man. Like, there was nothing we could do on Inferno. And then Ancient, I mean, when you get to this point at 10-5, having won the 3 T-side rounds, you're probably feeling pretty good about things. And yeah, honestly, we just kind of capitulated. I don't quite know what happened on our T-side really that caused such a capitulation, but yeah, we need to go through some things, that's for sure, about how to close out matches, because it's getting to a point now where we just it's no longer good enough to nearly beat teams around us. I guess that's the way to put it. So yeah, gotta get some I don't know, clinical practice in. Clinical's not the word. I don't know. We've got to be more clinical. We've got to start, like, putting people to the sword. Once we get them in a headlock, we've got to start ripping their heads off, kind of thing. Because a lot of these maps that we've lost, outside of like getting stomped on Inferno, a lot of the maps that we're losing are maps where we are very much in control and should be capable of closing them out, and ultimately are not closing them out. And that is frustrating. So yeah, rough 2 events in the end. The Fissure made it look good, and gave us a huge VRS boost and everything else. Great, but ultimately not good enough for where we feel we want to be. Let's just bring this up quickly since we're here. Boom. So this is the current live ranking. Always feels nice to be above Liquid, but yeah, I feel like with the matches we should have won, I feel like this amount of points we probably should be like somewhere up here. And this would put us in positions to be getting invites in August. And unfortunately, I think we're going to struggle to get invites in August. we are 4 ranks ahead of where we were in July. So yeah, technically that's a win. You know, it's progress, but it's not enough progress. I think the biggest problem we're going to face now is that we just don't have enough events coming up. We've obviously got the bounty next week. Yes, next week. I think we'll be playing. I think we're playing either the 7th or the 8th, but I can't remember which. But we're playing one of the 7th or the 8th, I think. Is it 7th or 8th? Or 5th? No, it's 7th or 8th, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, I mean, we get to pick a team. This is using the live ranking, I think. I can't remember what seed we actually. I think we're like 3rd pick, so I think we get to pick a team from the top 16, which was. Can we? How do we? Can we do this? No, we can't do this. Screw it. Valve rankings. We'll just go back and find it. Who was the top 16? Oh crap. Here we go. All right. Who was the top 15? So to answer your question, Paddy Slay, who's our first matchup for the bounty? We get to determine that. So this is what I'm going through now. Of the teams who accepted the bounty, because I think the Mongols declined, right? I think the Mongols declined, and did anyone else decline? No, I think just the Mongols declined. Right? Am I crazy? Is it just the Mongols? Do you know what? I think Wikipedia actually has it better. Hold on. Share this tab. Right. So I think this has it. I'm pretty sure this is in order. So Legacy are the 16th team. MIBR will pick first. NIP will pick second. We will pick third. So basically, MIBR will pick a team. Let's say let's just make it like simple. So let's say MIBR just pick the weakest team supposedly, which is Legacy. They're the 16th seed. That would be them. Then let's say NIP then pick B8. Then we would be free to pick anyone from Liquid until Vitality. So we would be able to pick like a matchup that suits us, basically. So that could well be a Liquid or a Pain, or we could be like, nah, you know what, we can beat Na'Vi. And so there are benefits to picking a better team. I'm going to see if I can find. Here we go. So this will explain it. So here, actually, this even has the seeds written on it. Thank you, Blast. This might be the one thing your website's actually good for. So this actually has the seeds on it. So yeah, let's. Do you know what? Let's get me out of the picture for this, because this is more. So yeah, we're seed 19. So the top 16 teams you can see here, they all have money in the bank. Well, so they have bounty. So they have their bounty, but they have none of it banked yet. Seed 17 will pick first. They might pick Legacy. If they pick Bait, then we can pick any team from these 14 teams, essentially. So unlucky for OG, unless one of NLG or BetBoom is walking around with the biggest ball sack you've ever seen and picks Vitality, OG are going to play Vitality. I think that's pretty much pretty much confirmed at this point. But as you can see, if we picked Legacy, we would play there for their bounty of 15,000. But if we picked Astralis, we would play for their bounty of 20,000, and then there's 30,000, and then there's 60,000. So there are advantages for picking a team who is higher ranked. I'm pretty sure if you beat a team, you get half of their bounty banked. I think that's how it works. I haven't read up. They changed the rules recently. So okay, so this is a lie. This is a flat out lie. This is not prize pool. Okay, so just to clarify, I'm going to expose Blast for this. This is not prize pool. This is participation fee. So we got given $7,500 to participate in this event. It's irrelevant of where we finish. That is based on where you were invited. So the top 8 teams were given 40,000. So these top 8 teams here, so seed 1 to seed 8, we're given 40,000 to attend. Actually, that's not quite right, but close enough. The 9th to 16th teams were given 26,000, so that was us at the first bounty this year. And then the remaining teams get 7,500 just for attending. That's just for attending. So you only get the money from your banked bounty, and your banked bounty is I believe it's half of what you've challenged for. So, I mean, maybe they've got a rulebook here. I don't know if they've got a rulebook here. Actually, hold on. If I simulate the bounty, what happens? Does it tell me the amount of money we bank? Hold on, let's have a look. So let's just do this in reverse order so that we assume that the lowest team plays against the... This is fun, guys. Let's have a look. So if we assume that the highest ranked team always picks the lowest available option, then this is how it would look. I love a game against Liquid. And then let's say blah, 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 blah. All that happens. So you can see here now, okay, so if they win their matches, they bank 2,500 of their bounty. They bank 2,500 as a bounty, apparently. Now let's see what happens if TNL win their game. Yeah, see, look, if TNL win their game, they bank half of G2's bounty. So there is a benefit in picking a better team. Let's say OG win their game, they instantly bank 30,000. Wait, can you guys... Oh my god. Now you can see the actual tab I'm looking at. I forgot to switch the tabs. My bad, guys. Anyway, let's just undo all this and we'll go through it all again. So, everyone has a bounty. Nobody has banked anything. If Vitality win a match, they bank 2,500 of their bounty. If they win a match, so that happens if all the high seeds win, they automatically just get 2,500, right? And you see that G2 win, they get 2,500 of their bounty banked. However, if OG win, they get half of Vitality's bounty, and Vitality lose all their bounty and they get nothing banked. So if you lose the first match, you automatically get nothing. That's 100%. And if you beat a team, you get half of their current bounty. So let's just play this out as if all the highest seeds win, all the lowest seeds lose, right? So all these teams are eliminated. Round 2. The first pick would be MIBR, and they're going to pick Furia. Nip are going to pick Na'Vi. Complexity going to pick FaZe. Aurora, blah, blah, blah. Let's just keep going through all this. Okay, cool. So when we get to this point, so this is 7,500, and that's their bounty, I believe, right? So once the money has been, so MIBR have 7,500 in the bounty, and they have 7,500 banked. So only the eligible bounty now is available to teams to pick. So Fury will always keep that 2,500. But their bounty of 27,000 is available. So if MIBR beat them, they gain half of the bounty. Furia still keep their banked money, right? Everyone with me so far? I hope so. So let's say like there's a few different matches go on like this. Now you can begin to see that some of these teams who upset in the first round, when they got their 20,000 bounty off some of these big teams, or 10,000 bounty off some of these big teams, they keep that. So they go with $10,000 prize money. And the teams who are still in now have their banked money, and they still have their bounty money as well. So Vitality and Spirit have still got their full bounty, and it looks like, hold on, let's just have a look here. So Vitality, so in the second round you get 7,500 for winning if you're the higher team. So if the opponent that picks you get 7,500. What happens if Na'Vi Junior win their match? Hold on. So if Na'Vi Junior win, I assume they just get half of the bounty, so they get... Oh, no, wait, hold on. They got more than that, didn't they? Na'Vi Junior went from 10... Oh, no, because their bounty's slightly smaller. That's why. Their bounty's slightly smaller than that. So, yeah, they get half the bounty, don't they? wait, 41,250 minus 10,000. They get 31,250. They get 31,250. How are they getting 31,250? Oh, are they getting 2,500 just for winning? Or is the calculator wrong? I don't know. You understand the general principle, I think. Yeah, as you say here. Well, where we go. Yeah, the banked money is essentially the prize money that you take home at the end of the day, and the bounty money left over is the money that teams can try and play you for. There is actually more complicated. There is actually a more complicated aspect to it, where I think you can also add an additional wager on top. So you can also say, we're going to play you for your bounty, and we're going to wager like $5,000 of our banked money. I think there's some kind of wagering system. I know they updated it recently, and to be honest, I haven't really been paying attention. So it's not the biggest issue. I'll know about it before we do the draw in a few days. But actually, the draw is on Friday, I think. I think the draw's on Friday. 1 second. Let me just make sure 1st of August at 2 p.m. Okay, right. I better put that in the calendar. I didn't know it was then, but let's have a look. 2 p.m. calendar. Boop. Blast draw. Cool. Right. And that'll be me and JT, I think, because that is 7 a.m. Central. So that'll be me and JT doing that. Let me just find that news for you, because I know they updated it recently and I just want to actually find out. I don't think it's going to be super relevant. I don't think too much is going to change, but it will just be worthwhile. Here we go. Right. This is let's just read through this together. Seeding and change. Right. Seeding. So teams will now keep their initial seeding. So we're seed 19. We will always be seed 19. Yeah, and then this is the reason why. So it's good to stop lower ranked teams just instantly. To stop initially better ranked teams then being underdog teams and picking against teams that had just had like an underdog victory. So wagering. Here we go. Teams will be able to wager against each other for the chance to earn extra cash. They don't have to wager even amounts, allowing the underdog teams to taunt the bigger teams into putting more money on the line. The lowest seed will therefore be allowed to suggest the wagered amount first, and a small discussion will follow. Wagered amount goes directly to the bank. When two teams wager against each other, the amount won will be deposited directly into the bank of the winning team, rather than being added to their bounty. This was changed because the previous wording of the rule meant that the wager won would be added to the team's bounty and then halved. The previous ruling incentivized teams not to wager larger amounts, as it just increased their bounty number. Okay. So, current rule example. Okay, updated rule examples. This is how it will work. So 50k banked, 50k bounty, 15k banked, 20k bounty. Teams agree to a 5k wager and Vitality wins. So Vitality they keep their 50k banked, plus they get 5k from the wager, plus they get 20k, which is the bounty here, divided by 2. So half of BetBoom's bounty goes to their bounty, and the other half goes into their bank. So that's their 15k banked. Yep. Their bounty gets 50k, which it already was, plus 20k divided by 2, which is half of the bounty. Yeah, so that makes sense. Cool. Teams earn money for each win. From now on, teams will earn $2,500 from their bounty from their bounty for every match win. Teams have under will gain all of their bounty. This allows teams to earn money for wages, providing greater incentive. Okay, cool. All right, so not that much has changed really. Surely underdog teams will wager all their money. So the issue with that is the underdog teams don't have any money to wager. So it only comes into effect on the second round. Right? You can only wager money you have. You can't wager 5k and then the other team gets 5k and you you can't. I mean, I suppose you could technically do that and just send them 5k in via a bank transfer, but the money isn't in play within the tournament at least. So you would have to. That only affects from the second round at least. But yeah, technically the underdog team could always just try and wager more of their money. That's for sure. But I mean, you also have to be confident you're going to win, otherwise you're just giving away money. So, yeah, I mean, it could get fun. Klarna it, yeah, you could Klarna it, that's for sure. But yeah, I don't think it's going to change too much. But it's good to see at least they're trying to incentivize something. Honest opinion, this is like the worst format in in the entire VRS. The fact that it's online makes the event pretty much worthless. The fact that you don't get any guaranteed prize money makes the event pretty much worthless. I'll be honest, the only reason we're attending is because we have literally nothing else to play for, and this was the least risky, highest possible reward event we could play. That is the honest truth. There is no getting around it. The other options we would have had to play would have been Thunderpit qualifiers, CCT, the Blast Open qualifiers, which is ironically more risky qualifiers towards a even less valuable event. Potentially at least. So yeah, ultimately this was just basically the least evil qualifier, least evil tournament we could play, and it gives us a week in Copenhagen. Blast cover a very small amount of our costs to be there. To be honest, like this event is essentially pay to play. We lose money by attending. In theory, like versus our compatriots, the other teams. So yeah, it's a frustrating situation to be in, because we have to pay to go over to Europe to be online and play in a boot camp, and then Blast give us $7,500. Plus $9,000 in travel stipend. Bearing in mind that the $7,500 is given to all teams. It's given to all the European teams. So every team is getting that. We're getting $9,000. We spend more than $9,000 to go to a boot camp. Therefore, we have to then use the money from that every team gets, which means that while our European teams are making money by attending this event because they don't necessarily have to have boot camp costs, so they can just pocket the $7,500 or the $26,000 or the $40,000. They can just pocket all that money. We spend more than the stipend Blast gives us to attend. So literally a loss-making event for us. And realistically, with the prize money on offer, we would have to, at least as an organization, we would have to get like, I don't even know. Let's have a look what this works out as. We would probably have to take like, we'd have to get to like the third round and knock off like one big bounty to make it worthwhile. So, very frustrating event to have to attend, but if we don't attend this, we don't attend anything. So that is the nature of VRS as it stands right now. It is what it is. So we make the best of it. So let's have a look. I'm not going to say any team is free. I'm Lubinator. I don't know if that's like a German version. I don't know. Lubinator. I don't know what your name is, but no team is free in this tournament. That's for sure. There might be some teams that match up well against us. We'll have a look at it in the meantime, and we'll try and figure it out. But Yeah, no team is free. That's for sure. I think that's getting a bit ahead of ourselves. You know, if we can't beat some of the teams, or we're struggling to beat some of the teams that are below us in that seeding that we can't pick, then saying that any team above is that a grey hair? Oh my god, that's a grey hair in my beard. Oh my god, no. Like, I've got a few up here. Like, I know that I'm struggling up here, but in my beard, I can't have that. That's going to get plucked after the show. Just me having a midlife crisis midstream is always fun. Yeah. I'm just double checking that I booked these flights for the right people. Hold on. That does say the right person, and that does say the right person. Nice. Let's go. Alrighty. What next? Right, let's get to the topic that really boils my blood. Actually, there's two topics. Let's go for the first one. My favorite place on earth. Valve's GitHub. Valve, please, can you distribute these slots? The season is underway. Teams are accepting invites. Teams are declining invites. Teams do not know what the frick they have to achieve to attend your next major. Every team would love to attend the major. What they would like even more, well, maybe not even more, but certainly right now what they like is to know what the goalposts are. Like, what do we have to achieve? What are we playing for? Please, Valve, just distribute these slots. Just put them in there somewhere, please. I beg you. Right. Rant number 1 over. What's next? Okay. Rant number 2. Let's just see if we can find it. It'll be here somewhere. Star Ladder, Star Series, Budapest, LAN group stage replaced with online qualifier. The tournament organizer will streamline its event in order to minimize scheduling conflicts. Go fuck yourself, Star Ladder. And Valve, you fucking allowed this to happen. Fucking disgraceful. Utterly disgraceful to allow this to happen. Star Ladder, you should be ashamed of yourselves for allowing this to happen as well. The fact that this is now the second event that's now removed a LAN group stage from their event, the first being Blast Fall Open, Blast Open Fall, whatever you want to call it. This alone is bad. What is the icing on the fuck you cake is that they changed all of the slots to EU only. EU only. They changed all the slots to I keep clicking the fucking tweet. They changed all the slots to EU only. So what was it? 16 teams being invited for a LAN tournament is now 4 teams being invited to a LAN tournament. Sorry, 16 global teams being invited to a LAN tournament with qualifiers. There was also a North American qualifier for this event. So what was one North American team guaranteed plus invites is now no North American teams guaranteed and no North American qualifier. Like, that is fucking disgraceful. Like, that is so utterly disgraceful that they can just remove the global aspect of Counter-Strike completely, essentially, from their event because they decided that they weren't going to get good enough teams, or in their eyes good enough teams. They were just like, nah, fuck it, let's just fuck them all then. So the reason why this is so important is because this event takes place, if you see down here, Fisher Playground 2, September 12th to 21st. Star Ladder, well, okay, the dates have changed now because this is just the LAN portion, but this Star Ladder event was, when you include the Europe closed qualifier, which is now moved, annoyingly, it's now in August. But like, this event used to be like the 13th or something. And these two events overlapped. So if you had 16 teams getting invited to this and 16 teams getting invited to this, you would invite the top 32 teams in the world. Now, 16 teams are going to go to this, 4 random teams are going to go to this, and it's just the top 20 in the world. So how do you expect there ever to be like turnover of teams? How do you ever expect non-EU teams to ever achieve anything in this industry, in this ecosystem, if they're just going to get continually rolled over and fucked by decisions like this? Another one. Thunderpick World Championship, 2025 closed qualifier. All these slots got changed to Europe. They used to be global. So now, the only way you can qualify to this event as a non-European team is from qualifiers that have already fucking happened. At the time they made this decision, these qualifiers had already started. Like, we'd already declined invites because we assumed that these would be slots that were open. And now they're not open. So how does that make sense, Valve? Can you please tell me how you allowed this to happen? Like, how did this happen? I don't want to bring up the emails I have with Valve on this, but let's just say that I flagged this stuff to them in May, like the first week of May. I think it was like the 5th of May. I flagged that this event like didn't meet the TOR. It was like, it didn't make any sense. They then took 2 months. So after both sets of qualifiers had taken place, to then basically go, that's fine, let's just cut everything out. But the teams, the non-European teams who are already qualified, they can stay. But there's no other way for non-European teams to now qualify. Therefore, fuck everyone who didn't try and qualify, assuming they would be able to attend the later stages. Like, it's just a complete clusterfuck of a system. And I don't understand how Valve are letting all this happen, and I don't understand. Well, I know why TOs are not doing it. It's costs, right? It's all costs. But to just allow these TOs to essentially just like bend them over and do what the fuck they want. Like, this is meant to be a tier 1 event, this Thunderpick World Championship, right? This Thunderpick World Championship here in October. This is meant to be a tier 1 event. So that means that they have to have like all their stuff announced a year ago, or back in like, what, I guess for an October event, it's 10 months. So they'd have to have their stuff announced on the 15th of January. And now they're just being allowed to change the entire qualification system. And it's still a tier 1 event. They can still invite top 4 global teams, which they shouldn't be able to because it should now be a tier 2 event. And yeah, they just completely killed all the global slots, except for the ones that were already decided, and now nobody can go back and try and qualify for. Like, utter shit show, completely disgraceful. Thunderpick should be ashamed of themselves. Valve should be ashamed of themselves. Yeah, nothing more to say really. What else do we have on that also changed? CAC got demoted to a tier 2 event, but it's not currently. I mean, I know that Liquipedia has it listed as tier 2. Was it here that they did it? No, it wasn't here. But yeah, this is now a tier 2 event. So like, these invites have to start at 13, but it's still going off the July ranking. So I don't know how far down this is going to go. No information on these qualifiers. Kind of a shit show, but I don't know if teams are going to want to go from China to Bucharest to China. In fact, they can't go from Bucharest to China. Like, that's almost impossible. So teams might just try to go China. Teams might go to Bucharest. Other teams will go to Thunderpick. Like, this whole section here, like, how many teams are going to want to go from Pro League straight to China? This whole section here is kind of crazy, but it's also after the major cutoff, so no one's really going to care. But this Fisher and Starladder thing is just a complete disgrace. The fact that Starladder were allowed to essentially. They essentially just completely changed the qualification process for a bunch of teams, because teams that were expecting to go to one of these 2 events, based on the declines they'd made throughout the season and based on everything else they've done, like leading up to this point, have now just been left with nothing in September. Like, there's nothing else they can qualify for in September now, because they could have played the Thunderpick World Championship close qualifier, but it's now all European. They could have played the style out of Budapest, but it's now all European. They obviously can't play ESL. Well, some people can play ESL Impact League, but we obviously can't play ESL Impact League. And the style out of the Pro League stuff has already happened, so we can't play. We already declined the Pro League qualifier. So this North American closed qualifier, we'd already declined this before knowing if we could actually, because we assumed that we could attend this event. Now we can't, so now we have no event in September. Like, the logic would have been like, hey, we don't have to go to Pro League because we can go to Star Ladder or Fisher, and we've lost both of them. All because Valve has no fucking backbone and just lets TOs boss them around and say what the fuck they want to do. So that really pisses me off, because they are actually having a negative effect on the integrity of their own ecosystem by allowing this to happen. Like, Valve is actively damaging the integrity of their own ecosystem. Like, this is unbelievably infuriating to me. How this can happen. What else have we also declined? I think by the time they announced this, when did they announce this? They announced this on the 14th of the 7th. I think we might have still had an option to play this technically, but we weren't going to play this anyway. I think this is happening tomorrow, right? Is it tomorrow this starts? I think this starts tomorrow. We were invited to this. I think we technically could have still accepted the invite to this, but this event is an even worse event to play than the Bounty. So that was not an option for us. So yeah, like, we could have tried to qualify for Pro League, and then you've basically got an event that hits right before the cutoff. The October cutoff is the one for the major. So Fisher Playground and Star Series Budapest are the last two events, essentially, before the major cutoff, except for Pro League Season 1, but like, that's only the first stage. So yeah, extremely, extremely frustrating. I have more thoughts on this. I would love to sit down with Valve in Budapest and talk to them about this, because this kind of thing can't continue if they want teams to be like actively trying to participate in this ecosystem, especially non-European teams, because right now the whole ecosystem is just catered towards European teams, and Valve are actively disincentivizing non-European teams to exist. So there we go. All right, boys, we're going to do the timeline. Let's have a look. Australis win Season 1 of Intel Grand Slam was 2018, so that definitely happened after Summit Dives with Molotov. It definitely happened before Liquid signed Fallen. Liquid signed Fallen during COVID. Jame won his major after COVID. Dupree wins the major, was Katowice of 2019, so that was after they won the Grand Slam, so this should be correct. Easy peasy. I think we're on I got 3 out of 5 yesterday. What was this one? Yeah, I messed this one up, because Simple became Player of the Year after, in 2023, obviously. Like, I didn't process the fact that it happens afterwards, but yeah, technically it still happened after this, so I got this one wrong. But other than that, I've been on a pretty good streak. These ones were pretty easy. Cool. Just qualify to Pro League like Liquid. We probably could have played the qualifier. Actually, no, we could have played the qualifier. We would have had to give up on Fisher. The question is playing Pro League the week before the qualifier more valuable than going to Fisher? Like, if you have a guaranteed event versus a qualifier to an event, there's obviously some questions you have to ask yourselves about the value of, like, the timing of having an event. Like, is having a guaranteed event early better than qualifying for a later event, but maybe not qualifying for the later event? So yeah, there's decisions to be made. Really quick thoughts on Inferno. I've been having a lot of fun studying the B changes. So the B changes for me mostly is around like the whole coffins and church of Riyadh, right? Where they've changed like the back route to church from coffins, and they've obviously opened up the windows, right? I haven't had a chance to play it yet. No one's allowed me to play it in my pugs. I've only had, I tried to pug yesterday in Premiere, and I think I ended up on Mirage twice and a Dust 2, which is just utter torture. Like, I was like, hey, I might get Overpass. It's a brand new map. Or hey, I might get Inferno. People might want to see the changes. And yeah, I just ended up on the two worst maps in the map pool. So I haven't played it yet, but having seen it, I think that definitely the changes to the skylight, to the windows at the top of the church are extremely good. I think they will allow some more tactical play in terms of the CTs will be allowed to not feel like they have to hide in the back of the site or fight like crazy on the entrance to the site, which is what it feels like sometimes on Banana. You know, like the CT smoke comes in, the coffin smoke comes in, and either you are like getting through the smokes and fighting immediately, or you're like hiding in the back corners of the site. I think this will allow like more like retake setups to happen. Like, you know, you can if you're playing coffins, you get smoked off, you can drop back into church, you could throw a molly, bounce it off, land it on the default bomb plant, which then makes it easier to spam the bomb from both the coffins area and from CT. So I think some teams could play around some aspects of that, which opens up the tactical side for the CTs defending the bomb site, but then also like retaking the bomb site after a bomb plant. They can do the same thing, right? Or the T's could as well, technically. Like the T's could go sit in church and they can just throw mollies up and down and molly the default bomb plant. So yeah, I think there's definitely some good changes which might at least make that bomb site a bit more interesting. The baby rail on A site, the apps change. I don't know. I mean, I know what it's meant to do. It's meant to make apps pops a little less powerful, because now players can't just strafe out the door, like looking at sight and shoot. Right now, they have to jump at some point. They have to move. They have to change. They have to basically not be able to shoot straight while they jump, which makes it a little bit easier for the CTs to like get that second they need to react and to shoot and stuff. So I think that's good. I think Halls pops could be quite dangerous, but I don't think it's as necessary as the changes were on B. As of yet, haven't had a chance to play Inferno, so I don't know how how depressing that rail is going to be when I'm playing CT and like trying to like play in and around apps and like trying to like micro in and around and like watch short and stuff. Like I feel like it shouldn't get in the way a lot. I don't know if they should have done like just one side or the other side. I guess they have to do the long side, so you can't just strafe out onto the roof bit. But then the short side would make it not really. Then teams would just barrel out and go straight down the short side, right? So I don't know. I don't know how that's going to play as a CT. Like if you're trying to play on the balcony kind of area, but I think it will definitely help the CT side, but I think now you almost have to. It also limits the CT side potentially in how they can play, because I'm just going to plug in some of my lights just to make sure they don't turn off. Just give me 2 seconds. Battery powered lights might be the death of me. Just going to charge one for 10 minutes and then charge the other, and hopefully they'll both stay on for the whole show. Yeah, I don't know how it's going to affect the CTs as well, because whoever that apps player is now going to have to rethink a little bit how they play on the periphery of apps, and whether they like take that tight angle and try and get like kills, or how they escape from things. So there's going to be, it's like a little bit of a nerf in defensive apps, but it's also a pretty big buff in the defensive like short and apps combined. So yeah, that'll be fun to play. Hoping I can play a pug tonight after the show, to be honest. Usually my wife goes to bed halfway through the show, so I can sneak in a pug before bedtime and nobody has to know that I stayed up late. That's my life sometimes. If anyone else has got any more questions, by the way, feel free to throw them over. I'm not really sticking to like a dedicated schedule in that sense. So feel free to send something over, and I will answer it to the best of my abilities, which is all I can ever do. And yeah, we will go from there. What else was there that I had on my list to talk about? I guess we can talk about the... I made a tweet recently. I made a lot of tweets recently, but I made another tweet recently about my favourite friends from HLTV. Let's see if I can find it. I made a few tweets about HLTV. Some of it was their fault, some of it was not their fault. Some of it Blast are still liable to fix. Will Cole participate in any of the NA-ECL Cups? Floofies, that entirely depends on whether the NA-ECL Cups make any sense for us to play. We got invited for the first one, we declined. The reason for that was... Hold on. I'm going to have to remember what the reason for that was. The reason for that was... Let me just find the dates for it. I'm pretty sure it was dates related. So let me just double check that. 8th to the 11th, 31st. Why did we decline that? Oh yeah, so the first week of it is during Blast Bounty, right? It starts on the 11th of August. We're in Europe, so that's why we didn't participate in the first one. The second one is the 8th of September. So it's the day after Knoxville, and it's during the Fisher Budapest thing. Yeah, it will depend if we get any invites to these other events. But yeah, the first one starts on the 8th of starts on the 11th of August, which is during the Blast Bounty. So we only fly back. Sorry, I got my dates mixed up. It's the 11th of August, not the 8th of the 8th. But yeah, that's the day that if we don't make it through the first stage of the bounty, that's the day we fly home. So we won't be able to play. And if we do, then also we can't play either because yeah, we'll be in Europe. So it should be noted, and this is coming to quite a shock to some of these teams. So ESL along with CCT. So I'm gonna we're gonna get off my tweet for a second. I'm gonna have to find this. Where is it? So some of these TOs have been getting pretty frustrated with some of these teams have been getting pretty frustrated with teams who accept invites to their events and then later on down the line then go, oh no, sorry, actually we're not going to play. Which I wholeheartedly understand. I think that's quite reasonable to expect that if a team accepts an invite to your event that they're going to attend that event. I've got no issue with that at all. Let's just grab this window. So which one's which? So this is the old version. This is the old version of CCT's team replacements. If a team cannot for any reason participate in the tournament, a replacement may be attributed to the next highest ranked team available in VRS using the same filters. CCT reserves the right to deny any team a replacement, if it is deemed to disrupt the competitive flow, schedule, or integrity of the event. In such time, the original team will remain in the bracket and all remaining matches will be forfeited until the team is officially eliminated from the tournament. So, that was the old version. The new version is... Oh, wait a second. And then the new version is this one. And the new version, very specifically... Once a team has confirmed its participation in a CCT event, they reserve the right to deny any withdrawal requests. Any team attempting to withdraw before being officially eliminated from the tournament may be subject to automatic forfeits. In accordance with Valve's TOR, just for the record, there is nothing in Valve's TOR about forfeits. This is bullshit. They're just lying or don't understand it. Like, there's nothing in the TOR about forfeiting a match. Like, that is just straight up bullshit, grade A bullshit. Makes no sense. Forfeiting a match may result in a loss of VRS points. It will result in a loss of VRS points. It will result in a loss of VRS points. CCT bears no responsibility for any penalties, point deductions, blah, 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 as these are enforced by Valve. Sure. So yeah, teams are expected to fulfill their obligation to the tournaments, blah, 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 blah. So CCT clearly have had enough of teams accepting invites to their events and then going, actually, I don't fancy playing their event this week. So basically now they're saying, hey, once you accept the event, you're going to be on the event page and we're going to put you in the bracket. And if you don't turn up to your match because you fucked up or you can't play or you don't want to play, then you get a forfeit. Forfeits in VRS are quite bad. Like, in some cases, you lose up to 30 plus points for doing this. So... pretty rough. So ESL are doing the same thing. So this is relevant for you, Floofies. So this one's good. What is the clash? Hold on. Yeah. Yeah. So let me just remind myself of the timeline of this because, okay, so this is Cup 1. So I know, so this is Cup 1 of ESL Challenger League, blah, blah, blah. And this starts on the 11th of the 8th and runs to the 31st of the 8th. And what happens in between those things is... oh my god, too many freaking tabs right now. If you ever want to get like an idea of what like a manager has to go through on a daily, weekly basis, this is what it is. So this qualifier here, which starts in 2 days, starts on the 1st of August, so it starts on Friday, has NRG, M80, Wildcard. They're probably the big three. Probably NRG, M80 right now, because Wildcard seems like a bit of a weird situation. But I mean, stands back, so they might have something. But yeah, let's say it's probably one of these two. So one of these two wins this event, and they qualify for Blast Open Fall. Blast Open Fall takes place on the 28th until the 1st of September. Now, do you see the issue here? If you have to be in Europe between the 27th of the 8th and the 1st of September, you will miss the finals of ECL Cup Season 1. ECL Cup 1. You'll miss the final, right? Because that will take place during this. The last 4 days of the Blast, the first 4 days of the Blast Open qualifier will take place during this. So like these matches at the end, you're going to have to forfeit them or play from Europe. You're going to have to forfeit them or play from Europe. So, yeah, you can win the you can win the ECL. Sorry, you can win a bunch of matches in the ECL Cup. You can win the Blast qualifier. You then attend Blast, and then you forfeit the ECL Cup, and you end up just losing VRS points. Because ESL are saying that if you accept an invite, that's same as CCT. They're saying that now. all of a sudden, I just want to say, like, I've been a massive hater of teams double booking themselves. Like, I know we got it a lot in Europe. Like, I I know, like, when it happened in like Australia, I was just like, bro, that's fucking stupid. Like, there's no reason Australian CS can't schedule around each other. Like, there's not enough tournaments for Australian CS to have double bookings. Like, how's that even happening? Like, I think Semper Fi, I think it was, got screwed by that earlier this year because TOs just don't have a brain. Just to clarify, not every TO doesn't have a brain, but certain TOs don't have brains. So, like, in Europe, like, when you see teams play like 5 BO3s a day, I'm just like, bro, just don't play a tournament. Like, it's not fucking hard. Like, don't complain about the situation you put yourselves in. But now, now you can't start accepting invites without thinking of the consequences. Which, you know, I don't want to say I'm like ahead of the game on this, but like, there's a reason why we just decline invites and don't like put ourselves in positions where we need to be in 2 places at once or anything like that, is because we look at the consequences of what could happen. We also read the rules of of the tournaments to understand, you know, oh shit, this could negatively impact us. Yeah, so I think there's a few teams here that could be quite heavily negatively impacted should they qualify to the Blast event, which is already a bad event to attend anyway because it's online. So even if you, I mean, for like the NA teams, it's not so bad because it, like, worst case, they get an upset win. That upset win will probably give them more bounty collected and opponent network than any loss would give them, but it's still extremely minimal points available, and the likelihood of any of the NA teams making it to the LAN portion, which is top six basically against like Cologne level teams, is unlikely. So essentially they're playing to not lose points in like the first rounds and hoping they can get like a big scalp, which is essentially gambling at the end of the day. That's the reason why we didn't play it, is because it's just not worth it to gamble like that. Then even if you make it to that event, you then have to forfeit the ECL matches or play them on 130 ping, which basically is a loss. And then you don't qualify for the ECL Cup. And if you lose those ECL matches, you're probably losing like 20 to 25 VRS against the teams you'll lose to. So some teams could end up negative 50, 75, negative 100 points if they're very unlucky in their Blast campaign as well. That sucks for them. This is the fun of VRS and the current ecosystem. Also, silly me, I forgot something. Who does this not affect? It doesn't affect the European teams, because the European teams are already in Europe. They can play their ECL Cup online. They can just play it online. Like, as long as they don't get directly scheduled on top of each other, which is unlikely, or I'd like to hope is relatively unlikely, then, I mean, I'd like to hope actually they just schedule on top of each other and you get fucked. But yeah, the truth is I don't really care, because it's Europe, and European VRS doesn't really matter that much to me anymore. But yeah, I like to think of this as a bit of a correction. I do have some level of empathy for non-European teams, because you only get so many limited chances to play in some things, and to lose out on that opportunity because you did qualify for something else is a bit shitty. But at the same time, like, I respect ESL basically saying, like, no, you accepted the invite, like, you have to play. Like, I think that's reasonable. Yeah. One second, sorry. So yeah, yeah. Overall, I'm happy with the development of TOs, like not letting teams fuck around with like invites and just accepting multiple invites and then being like, oh, actually no, could you take us out of the qualifier or could you take us out of this tournament because we double booked ourselves? It's like, no, you double booked yourselves. Like the matches at the match time. Show up if you're ready. I think that's a good development overall. I think it will get teams to be a bit more conscious of what they're doing. But I do think there is a certain level of negative. There's a certain negativity applied to non-EU teams if they have to travel for events. Like if it was like they were double booking themselves for like 2 NA events, I would actually give no fucks at all. But when it's like, oh, they qualified for an online tournament and then they can't play, then I was like, well, yeah, I think that's just unlucky. So yeah, I think this will not be the end of it. On a side note, this ECL bracket is ridiculous. Like there's no reason for this ECL bracket to be this big. Like I know ECL is meant to be like encompassing of like lots of teams, but like there is no reason for this bracket to take 20 days to play. Like I know it's meant to be a replacement for Challenger League. Like I know it's meant to be a replacement for Challenge League, but there are 4 of them. I don't think that it needs to be this big. I certainly don't think it needs to be this long. Like this is just an insanely sized bracket. Like it doesn't need to take 20 days when there's 4 of them. So I think for me, like some of the issue is just ESL's bracket is just too big. Like I don't think there's any reason to have 24 teams in this bracket. I think 16 would have been fine. Yeah, I think even 12 would have been fine, to be honest. Like I don't think these tournaments need to be this big. The fact that there's 4 of them, like ECL is meant to be the pinnacle of your region. It doesn't need to be 24 teams deep. Like advanced can be big. And then ECL can be like the very pinnacle of teams. Like there's no reason to have this many teams in an ECL Cup 4 times, in my opinion. But yeah, especially when you're inviting 23 teams via VRS. Is that serious? 23 teams in Cup 4? 1 teams? Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. It will all figure itself out. Would winning ECL give more points than not qualifying at Blast? Winning the ECL Cup itself would not... Wait, when you say not qualifying at Blast, do you mean not qualifying at the online event in Europe, like against the big teams? Or do you mean not qualifying for the Blast qualifier to that event? Because technically the Blast is now 2 qualifiers. So there's this qualifier, which is the qualifier to the LAN finals, which is the top 6 teams. Like winning at this event for like if you're this team and you get paired when you will get paired up against a Spirit or a Mongols or something like that, you'll get paired up against one of these big guys because you're the third lowest seed by default. You have to be one of the lowest 4 seeds, so you will definitely play Vitality, Mouse, Spirit, or Mongols in the first match if the seeding is still that by the time it gets to in August. Then yeah, winning against one of those teams will give you more points for sure. And having also won against all your direct rivals in the Blast Rising qualifier will have given you some points. But then you'll lose 2 matches, and then you'll also get forfeited in Blast, so it'll probably end up being a net negative. Sorry, you'll end up forfeiting the ECL Cup, so it'll probably be a net negative. So, okay, there are too many damn qualifiers. Yes and no. So this event is a qualifier because they moved it online. The original version, so Open Spring, so M80 qualified for this last time. This was all played out on LAN the last time. So in this case, it wasn't a qualifier. Like you came in, you got $5,000 for finishing last. Happy days, move on. But now it's been changed into a online qualifier for the LAN finals because Blast moved the group stage online. So, and as far as I'm aware, next year in 2026, the Open will be back on LAN again. It's only for this one event that they've done that. So, yeah. Unfortunately, Blast is doing a qualifier they're doing an open qualifier to a closed qualifier to a closed qualifier to the LAN finals. And the LAN finals is only 6 teams. So it's not really a great event. Yeah. Sucks for this time around. But yeah. Things will figure themselves out, I'm sure. But yeah. Anyway, to answer your question, Floofies, that is why we're not playing ECL Cup 1. It's because it clashes with the Blast Bounty. That's actually crazy. So it clashes with the Blast. Wait, hold on. If you're invited, you get to skip the first round, right? Hold on. So if you're invited to Cup 1, I assume you skip this first round of matches. You must do. I need to go find the email quickly. Hold on. Who sent me this email? I think Matt Olive did. Who sent me? ESL Pro League season. No. This one. Cool. They didn't send the schedule, did they? Matches to be played at 21 EDT. Okay, they actually didn't send me the schedule, so I don't know if we would have played. I just had a thought. Because NRG are playing the Bounty, right? NRG are playing the Bounty. So NRG are going to be in Europe until the 11th, same as us. And the qualifier starts on the 11th. Well, no, they're going to be traveling back to NA on the 11th. And the qualifier starts on the 11th. But I suppose it's double a limb. It's double a limb, and they will be seeded into this top half, right? Because they're a top 8 team. Yeah, they're a top 8 team. So they'll be seeded into this top half. So I guess NRG are just hoping that they don't win 2 matches at the Bounty and then lose in yeah. Yeah. So I suppose if they qualify to the LAN, they won't be able to play. But if they don't qualify to the LAN, they can fly back on the 11th, which is when I assume upper bracket round 1 will play. And then round 2 will play on like the 12th, and they'll just be jet lagged, but realistically playing against a very low. I mean, they're the number 1 seed, right? So they'll be playing what I assume to be a very low ranked team. Notice how I say low ranked, not low quality. They play a low ranked team, which means they probably will be able to get through it with a bit of jet lag, and then by the time they start playing kind of the more serious teams, they should be adjusted. So NRG will just about make it work with the bounty. But yeah, the Open then clash. That's how crazy this is. There's like a 2-week gap between the Open and the bounty, and somehow this qualifier is on both events. NRG can barely make it back to play the first round, and whoever wins that Blast qualifier will not be able to play the last bits. Guys, I've got a great idea. If you win the Blast qualifier, drop to the lower bracket early. Oh no, because then I suppose you still get 2 losses, right? You get 2 losses either way, so it doesn't really make a difference. Yeah, nah, you're just fucked. Sorry about that. Can't help it. Are we scrimming today, Fruit Cup? Is that why you're here? I don't think we are, right? You're still on boss, right? Yeah, we're not scrimming today. So you're just here for the fun of it. Cool. Appreciate that. Wait, you think so? No, you're not. Well, you're not on my list. Whether we are or not is another question, but you're not on my list. Tomorrow, yeah. Don't say what maps it's on. Don't tell people too much. NA scrims is the place to be. My calendar always gets so messed up when I look at my calendar in Europe, because the scrims end up at the start of the day after, because they go through midnight. So every time I look for the scrims, I have to look like on the other day, but in the morning at 2 a.m. and it's just confusing. Ah, dear. Alrighty. Where are we at? Oh yeah. So in other news, and this has now been fixed/changed, which is correct. So I just want to clarify. I wrote this message because what they did at the time was wrong, but what they were trying to do was right. Let me explain. So HLTV changed the pricing on their event pages for stage 1 of Cologne from slots the next stage to a $28,000 value. That $28,000 value is equal to the prize money of the teams who were eliminated in stage 1. Right? So it's the prize money earned in stage 1 that was the $28,000 value. Yeah. So this change is specifically the timing was a bad problem. The problem's been known for a while. I don't know if I click this. Can you guys hear this?
Not anymore. Let's say that was just taken seriously. Isn't that effectively a tier 2 event?
Can you guys hear this?
Which was what?
No, because tier 2 events get the full value of their prize money as you pull.
Oh, right, yeah, of course. Yeah,
The trap card's been activated there.
Got no idea if you
Well,
can hear
we
this.
could solve this by including the stage 1 in the fucking event page on HLTV and call it just all Katowice, and then all the teams would get 100% of the points.
But look, that's up to
Well, no, even if you take that away, like at least put their prize money to the amount of prize money that the teams in that stage who are eliminated earn, which is more than 0. So that was me on HLTV Confirmed, I think back in February. I can't remember exactly. But I suggested this exact fix, and I'm massively in favor of this fix. This is the right thing to do. It's the thing that should have always been done. It's been known to HLTV for a very long time. It's been known to Valve for a very long time. And it is the right change to happen. The issue, we can skip over. Well, I suppose we don't have to skip over this bit, but I'm gonna post this into. Do you know? I'm gonna be slightly lazy, and I'm gonna post this tweet here by Jesper Larsen. This is my best Danish accent, which I believe in Danish would be his name would be Uknul, or something along those lines. Danish is a horrible language to talk about, but I'm going to post his tweet in Twitch. If you guys want to go read it, you can go read it. If you're on any other platform, I'm very sorry, but I'm not going there right now. Anyway, you can go read this tweet. It's a very in-depth version of what I wrote. But basically, depending on the prize pool, you can look at this thing here, depending on the prize pool determines your event weight. And that event weight determines how valuable the matches you play at that event are. So $1 million is 100%. Like, you think of these as percentages. So 0.5 is 50%, 0.33 is 33%, 0.25 is 25%. You get the deal. So if the prize pool has like 0, it gets defaulted to 1, and that equals 14.3%. And depending on how much prize money you add determines the event weight. And yeah, she put another screenshot here. So initially it was this. So IM Cologne had other, which basically means 0, so 1. So it goes back to that 14.3%. And the main event of Cologne had 1.25 million, which is technically wrong because $28,000 is actually distributed in the first stage. So what it actually does is it corrects an issue, which is that the first stage of the event is determined as having 0 prize money when it actually does have prize money. So it's undervaluing the first stage of the event, which means that matches played by the teams who arguably need the points the most, the teams that are at the lower end of the ranking, because Cologne invites the top 8 teams to the main stage, and then the next 16, so ranks 9 to 24, go to the first stage. Those are the teams that need the ranking points, and their matches are then undervalued. So this is the change that needed to happen. This is correct. The issue with it was the timing, because they did it basically as the event started. If they do Cologne, then they have to do the same thing for all future 2-stage events. So this would include ESL Pro League. So any team that declined an invite to play a qualifier for ESL Pro League, thinking, oh, the first stage of ESL Pro League is lower value and now it's higher value, well, that's a massive issue, because they now may want to accept that invite because, oh, the value is increased. Same thing for Blast Open Fall, which is the first stage is online, but now has prize money attached to it. So it's actually more valuable than it was before you declined the invite. That would have been something that would have affected our decision making, for example. Like, we probably would have played the NA closed qualifier, the one that starts in like 2 days, for the Blast Open, if it had the higher value matches, even though it was online. If it had the higher value matches, then it could make more sense for us to go, because the risk is still the same on the bottom end, but the reward is so much higher. It would have affected the Blast Bounty. Technically, in theory, some teams will end the online stage with prize money, so it should affect the Blast Bounty. The main issue with that is that they're making a change that affects the quality of the events and the rewards you can get from events after the ability to determine whether you participate in the events had passed. So you couldn't go back on the decision now that they've materially changed the value of the events. There's 2 issues with this. One is that decision should not be able to come. Sorry, I'm just going to switch my light over so the other one's getting charged now. The first issue from that is that decision should not come from HLTV. HLTV should not determine the value of an event in the ecosystem. The second part of that is obviously that it should have just not been done at that time. Another weird question is, does it get backdated to include previous events? Like, does Austin stage 1 and 2, which still contributes to the current VRS ranking, does that count? Does that get backdated with the updated value? So that was the issue. HLTV went back on their word, essentially. Not went back on their word. No, sorry, that's correct. Scrap that. They didn't go back on their word, but they went back on the decision. So, like Blast Open London, has gone back to land final spots, and IEM Cologne, the first stage, has gone back to stage 2 spots. They reverted it for now, but what they have correctly done, I don't know if Valve have approved this, but I believe the Budapest Major now has the prize pool correctly sent for stage 1 and 2. So stage 2 is 80,000, stage 1 is 40,000. And like Krakow next year, 28,000. So they fixed it for events that haven't been invited for already, which I believe the only ones this year that still have that is actually Budapest, and then obviously into 2026. So they have made the right decision in the sense that they've made the decision to change it, and they've made the right decision to revert the change for the current events that the attendance is already predetermined, or there's no way to undo your decision to attend the event. Because I mean, honestly, if they hadn't done that, then in my opinion, like ESL and Blast would have had to re-invite every single team to every single qualifier, or to void all the qualifiers to allow all the teams to redetermine if they would have attended their events, which would have been a massive clusterfuck. Which means it probably wouldn't have happened, which meant that the integrity of the ecosystem had then been compromised. So it's good that HLTV reverted it. It's bad that they thought they could change it themselves. It's bad that they thought they could change it at the time they changed it. It's bad that HLTV have that kind of power, not because HLTV can't be trusted with that power, but because HLTV should not be put in a position where a change on their website determines the integrity of the ecosystem. Like, Valve need to in-house this for it to work properly, and they haven't. So a number of issues relating to this, which, yeah, it's all quite frustrating because it's all things we already know, and nobody seems to want to make a difference with it. So, all right, we got one more. Okay, I'm going to have to be careful about how I display this to you, because I don't want to display any materials that are not for public consumption. So let me just figure out how I do this in the best way. This one's a good one. This one's a real doozy. This should be bigger news than it is, and I don't know why nobody gives a shit, but it's a real fucking problem. Let me go back and find the first email, because the first email is the one that did it all. Oh yes, of course, it's this one here. They've been ignoring me. So, on the 17th of April, can I share this with you? No, I can't share this email with you. On the 17th of April, I mean, there's nothing confidential in this email. I just don't want to share the email because I just can't be bothered getting in trouble for accidentally sharing confidential information if they consider this confidential, even though all of the information is very clearly just normal. So on the 17th of April, 2025, we received the invitation to the Blast Austin 2025 Major. First of all, it's a bit of a piss take calling it invite when we literally won the qualifier. Like, inviting the team that wins the qualifier is like, no, we qualified, like, you didn't invite us. So it's very grandeur of them to do that, but like, we won the qualifier, so you didn't invite us. They invited us to the Blast Austin Major, and they attached a rulebook. They said, by accepting the invitation, you also accept the terms and conditions laid out in the attached TPA and rulebook, which they have now. Oh, Blast, you're in fucking trouble now. Oh, no. they have now removed. Oh, no, they're trying to cover their tracks. Assets.blasttv/rulebook/blast/TV_Austin_major_rulebook PDF. They have now removed this file. Oh, I was ahead of you, boys. So, if we go to Web Archive, you will see on this website that 2 days ago, I made a snapshot of that rulebook. Oh, Blast, you're in for it now. I made a snapshot of this rulebook because this is the rulebook they sent us in the initial email. And now they've deleted it because they're trying to cover their tracks. I've got them now. So, when this eventually loads, I do just drastically hate how much the Wayback Machine takes so long to load. Here we go. Cool. Blast Austin Major Rulebook. This is the one that I captured. Well, someone captured it on the 7th of April, apparently, but I captured it on the 28th of July. This is the rulebook they sent us. So this is Blast Austin Major Rulebook. And this rulebook, if you scroll down to this page right here, where is it? This one here has pricing, stage 1, 9th to 16th, which is 9th to 16th of stage 1, $5,000. You see that? $5,000. Now, if we then go to, there is a folder here called Team Staff Folder. There's another folder here called Team Staff Folder. So this same folder, here is a team. So they said, here is a team folder link containing relevant documents / forms you may need. And this is the folder. It's called Team Staff Folder. There's another rulebook in here. And it is from the 8th of April 2025. James uploaded it. Let's go into this rulebook. Bear in mind, this is the same email they sent us. Same page in the rulebook. Pricing, stage 1, 9th to 16th, $5,000. Beginning to sense a pattern here, aren't we? So, now if we scroll down a bit further, if we keep scrolling, a bit later on, when they sent us the schedule for the event, they sent us a tournament document. Okay, now this tournament document doesn't say anything about being confidential, so I'm gonna share it. This tournament document right here has a link to rulebook. You see the rulebook here? If we click that, they've deleted that one too. Interesting. Did I save this one in the Wayback Machine? Let's have a look. Let's have a look if I did. I think I did, because I think I'm smart enough to do that. Oh, look at that. So this is Assets, Blast TV, Rulebook, Blast Austin Major, Rulebook V2, PDF. So this is the V2. This is the same one that I just clicked in their document. Look at this, 28th of July, 13:59. I created a snapshot because I knew, I had a feeling they might delete it. And it looks like my snapshot didn't work because it says access denied, even though there's 2 captures on it. That's very weird. Why is that not working now? Oh, that's frustrating that V2 is not working. I did download this rulebook, and it looks like another version got captured actually here in April. So this is the V2 apparently. The way you can tell if it's V1 or V2 is they removed Taiwan. So if Taiwan is not there, so Taiwan is not listed as a country. So this is V2 of the rulebook, and you will notice that the prize money in this rulebook says stage 1. $5,000. $5,000, everybody. So you'll be shocked to notice that when you go to the results page of the Blast Austin Major, which I'm going to have to go this way around because it's a pain in the butt. June. Oh, it's gone too far now. The Blast Austin Major, stage 1, you will notice, has no prize money associated to stage 1. Why is that, you ask? Why would the prize money not be there? Because Blast TV Austin Major. So Blast have their own page here for the Blast Austin Major. This is on their homepage. And there's a button here called Show Me the Rules. And on this rulebook, this is the only version of the rulebook that they sent, which they never sent to teams. They only ever put this publicly in this one place. Says, prizing, stage 2, $10,000. Where did the stage 1 prize money go, guys? All the prize money that you promised us vanished, disappeared. Blast have got some questions to answer. In fact, I'm going to try and get them to answer them tomorrow. I'm going to call them up because this is fucked up. The fact that they are trying to cover their tracks. And the fact they're trying to cover their tracks after I saved their rule books. So now I can provably determine that they've now deleted them after I asked them the question of, hey, where's our $5,000 prize money? Is essentially an admission of guilt. So Blast, if you're watching the show today, please feel free to give me a call in the morning. If not, I'll give you a call in the morning. I think that's how we're going to end the show, guys, because this really, really grinds my gears, actually, that a TO would essentially go back on their prize money after they've got us to agree to the prize money. I'll be very interested in Blast's response to this whole scenario, because it's quite provable now, having already saved those documents, that that they have now tried to cover up the situation by deleting the documents, which just makes me laugh, really, because especially now I've shown you guys all on stream that those documents exist, and they can't delete this stream, and I'm going to save a copy of this stream just to make sure they can't delete the stream. Just for everyone who is watching, this is the 30th of July. It is currently 22:51 in Europe. That is the time I made this stream. Yeah, this is going to be a fun one to figure out, because Blast have clearly fucked up, and now they are attempting to cover up their fuck up, and they're doing a really shit job at it. And there's now 8 teams that are going to be $5,000 worse off than they should be because of that fuck up. So, yeah, let's see how that goes. Going to end the stream there because I've been going for nearly 2 hours now, and I fancy some sleep because I've got a big phone call to make in the morning. So, yeah, this is going to be a fun one. Thanks for tuning in. Did another 2-hour stream to make up for the 2 1-hour streams I missed. So I guess if I do another 2-hour stream next week, we'll be up to date. But yeah, usually I go for 2 hours anyway, so I can't really say that. But yeah, we will resume next week. I assume we'll have some news about the prize money next week. I have a doubt. I have a feeling we won't get paid for that prize money, but certainly if they refuse to pay it, it will get escalated to Valve, because I personally think it's a gross violation of the terms of the tournament agreement that we signed with Blast. We signed the tournament agreement prior to the 5th of May. The rulebook that they put on their public website, which is the only version which has the prize money removed, is after we signed the tournament agreement, the tournament participation agreement. So they have essentially changed the prize money after we've agreed to it. So yeah, it's going to be a fun one. So yeah, I will see you guys all next week. I haven't done it all show, which is a disaster, but guys, Legacy Tee, it's pink. I promised your one will come ironed, or will come without these wrinkles. I just threw this on straight out of the wash, because it came out of the wash from my Cologne trip, and I wanted something to wear that was, Complexity branded, and all my Complexity clothes were in the wash, so I didn't really have a choice. It was wear this wrinkled or wear something else wrinkled. So it is what it is. Grab yourself a Legacy Tee. Don't forget to go to the Discord up there, where you can find out about all these wonderful things before I have to do them on the stream. And yeah, join the Face It Club thing. I don't know when our next community night will be, but I believe we plan to do some more community nights so you guys can play with our wonderful pros. So we'll try and do some community nights in the near future, but I don't know when they will be yet. I don't know when we're going to have time in North America. Probably end of August would be my guess. After the bounty sometime we might have some space. So yeah, we'll try and do that. And yeah, I'll see you guys all next week when hopefully we'll have some more news. Hopefully we'll have some good news. It'd be nice to have some good news for once. I'd love to just spend a whole day being positive, but right now it just seems like I'm never gonna be able to do that. So yeah, peace out, guys. Have fun. Enjoy your days. Enjoy your evenings if you're in Europe. Enjoy your afternoons if you're in North America. If you're in Australia, as always, what the fuck are you doing watching this at like 8 a.m.? Yeah, have a good one, guys. And we'll be back next week.